Hey everybody, welcome to the Real Estate Collective brought to you by WFG National Title of Colorado. I'm your host, Lisa Suazo. Here on the Collective, our goal is to highlight experts, authorities, and influencers in the real estate space because we believe that we are better together, and when we can come together and learn from each other, we all can be better and think bigger. Today, I am so thrilled to have a true leader and innovator on the show, Mr. Galo Garrido. So Galo has been a real estate broker since 1993. That's almost 28 years, people. So he doesn't look nearly old enough to have been in the business for 28 years, but he has been throughout his career able to pivot, elevate, ride the waves of different market conditions, all while being just fiercely committed to the service of his clients. So just a little bit about Galo. He became an early expert in short sales and foreclosures even before the 2008 crash. He was an employing broker for and president and co-owner of Remax Cherry Creek, and now he leads the top performing Galo Garrido Group here in Colorado. Galo, did I get that right?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, cool. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for being here. I am thrilled to be able to chat with you, and so we can all kind of learn from you. So Galo, I know I was talking about you being in the industry for 27 plus years. When we had a conversation before, you told me that you got into the business when you were 20 years old. So how was that? Like starting so young? Were you taken seriously? Give me a clue of kind of how you started and what that was like.
It was a struggle because being young and naive to some degree, probably more naive than young. It's a difficult business to get into because it is the biggest investment that anybody would ever make, and it for them to trust you with their money is just a whole different level. And so difficult to type into that. So, that was the biggest thing is people who had done this 2 and 3 times to trust somebody who, and at the time I didn't even own a house. So, it's do what I say, not what I do, I guess. And that's what I was practicing. But at the end of the day, it was really just when they got to know me and trust me, and then they liked me. And then it was just me giving them the commitment of that. I would do whatever it takes, as much time as needed, to focus on their needs to get it done. And then when I did, I showed them. And then again, that's where referral base really took off right from the very beginning. And the need for that, very, very necessary in, those people, they say on average, talk to 10 people during the process of buying a home. And if you're in that conversation on the good side, then good. And if you're on the bad side, then you're probably not going to get any of their friends or family. So it's a huge important thing to, even if you do make mistakes, to clear it up with these folks, or what you do, I guess,
Yeah, own up to them, or at least to build that trust, right?
Yeah,
like that's huge.
And I think a huge thing was that I never came off that I knew it all. I was openly admitted that. And I still do that to this day. I preach to my team. I kind of play a dummy role, which is I know what I'm doing, but I don't need to prove that and prove it, my ego. I don't need to do all that with people I meet with. I just need to know enough. And then as we get going, they understand the way I talk, the way I think, and know that. But back then I would just always say, I don't know that, but I'll get right back to you. And so it was always about getting to the resource, getting the answer, and then coming back versus ad-libbing it or playing it off to somebody to where then they're thinking he doesn't know what he's saying or he's not telling the truth or whatever the case. I've seen that happen time and time again, which is you're just trying to prove your value to them. And the value is just that you're there and responsive and doing your job. And then you find the resources and the answers and the correct way to do it. It bodes well.
Yeah.
So
that's so cool. Well, obviously, I mean, I think that that's something that is really noticeable about you too, is like that authenticity. I think you are really, really committed to who you are and committed to your clients. How has that impacted your relationships with your clients over the years?
So I'm an interesting one because I would say I'm kind of an introvert.
Really?
Yeah. And so this business is a little difficult in the beginning, but like anything, as I get to know someone or someone gets to know me, then it opens up really easy, and I'm easy going at that point. Because again, I'm the type that I don't have a lot of friends. I have a small, group of
Like a
friends,
small
really
loyal group.
close, yeah, close friends. But and it is a sad thing in our business because I just sold a house to an older couple, and I don't show a lot of property. My team now is where they handle my buyers, but every now and again, I'll pick a buyer that I will manage myself, just to keep sharp. And again, sometimes in getting that client to use me, that is what I have to tell them, is that you're not going to be passed along, and not that they're passed along with my team, but just me doing the whole thing through. And again, like I said, it just depends on my vibe with them. And if the vibe is there, then I'll just go ahead and take them and run with it. And they ended up buying 3 of their houses. So they sold a house, they moved into their second house. I found them their third house. They moved into that house, and then they're selling their second house. So this is the last go around. And I told them, I'm like, I miss you guys. Like, it's you spend so much time, and then once they buy, it's kind of over. So it's a hard business to stay, because again, you have, at any given time, 10 clients, and you can't just stay friends with them. So, obviously I try to stay in touch and do all that, but it's a great short window of friendship. But I do believe that you cement everything in that time, and it's real. And some you don't maybe connect with, and it's just business, and that's fine. And others you do. But I think that's why I really push in just doing a really, really good job, because then whether your friends or not, or how you get along or whatever, if they, I've had so many come back to me and just say, hey, we're selling, and call me and come list my house. End of story. Not how are you? How's it going? How are the kids? And not that they don't care. They just know me as I'm their realtor. And when it comes to real estate, I call you, you handle it. Nice to see you again. And then part our ways. And it's happened time and time again. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're right. Like, it's an element of just doing a great job, knowing the client. Some people want a little more personal relationship. Other people are just like, man, you're amazing at what you do, so I'm coming back to you.
And I still learn every day, because sometimes I think I'm communicating great, and then other times the communication probably isn't. And then I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, I need to step it up a little bit and do this. And then, but I do ask them, like, like, I love to text, and I love to put together a text thread between all of our clients. Usually is myself, one team member, and then either the husband, wife, man, woman, whatever, whoever's involved. And we do a text thread, and I tell them that's just for the quick communication. But I do like I'll make a phone call on the important stuff. So just know that, the text is just there, just hey, a reminder of this, or this date's coming up or whatever. But when the negotiating or whatever, I pick up the phone. I'm a big old school phone person, and not necessarily email and text, because I like to do this kind of, I just think that there's no error in translation when you have a phone conversation or face-to-face. So
yes, the tone gets communicated, unlike sometimes in text or email where you're like, wait a second, what? Yes. So I want to come back to one of the things that really struck me about you, and that you kind of mentioned too, is I feel like you are one of these people who you're constantly trying to learn and better yourself. So you had mentioned, you maybe feel like this communication was great. Like, how could I do it differently? And I remember in a conversation we had, a couple of days ago, you had mentioned when you were just in the business, you were just looking for these opportunities to like learn and grow. How important do you think that is to sort of keep growing and evolving? Is that, and just learning and like being amazing at what you do? Is that kind of a focus for you, or how does that play in to how you do business?
Yeah, I mean, I just pay attention to what's going on. And then again, every transaction, you can learn from either the other agent or the lender or your buyer, your seller. I mean, just in different things. But again, it's hard to put in words.
Just part of who you are, I think.
Yeah, but it's like anything, because what I really preach to my team is like, you don't need to respond to anything right away. There's no fires. And I think in today's world, the immediate now and this and that, it can cause the errors, because you may blurt something to another agent that you're not supposed to say, or it is unfortunately a gamesman in the negotiating world, but you represent a client, and so you can't give out pertinent information, but if you can gather it, then it can help you. So a lot of times it's best to just not say a word and let the other person speak. And that's what I learned. That's why I say I play the dummy role, because I'll have so many, and again, I don't want to come down on my industry, but there's a lot that are driven on, I've done this for 15, 20 years or 30 years or whatever. And then the ego kicks in the brain, and then all of a sudden they just spill the beans on everything. And I'm thinking, unfortunately, you just put your sellers or buyers or whomever they represent in a bad position, knowing that what I know, and then unfortunately I can take advantage of that. And not that we want to take advantage of people and all that, but it's like anything. If there's a window of opportunity and it's legitimate and you're going to take it. Like, it just happens. And so you just have to be careful to listen more than speak, I guess. Yeah.
Great lesson, right? 2 ears, 1 mouth.
Yes, there you go. I got to remember that.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Listening though, it's harder than it would appear, but I think that's amazing advice and really, really smart. So one of the things I think that's super impressive about you, Galo, is that Kelsey Fish, our mutual friend, had kind of told me about you and how you have really evolved yourself over the course of 27 years. You started out as a real estate broker. You went into leadership. I mean, you still are a leader. You were a short sale expert. I mean, you still are, but there have kind of been obviously multiple phases in almost 3 decades of work. And you've really been able to capture that longevity and just kind of like ride the waves and be super successful and pivot. And so I'm just curious, like what did that just happen sort of naturally, like in flow, or were you intentional about it? Like, what do you think about you or the qualities that you have has kind of allowed you, maybe the focus that you have to really ride the waves of so many different market conditions and still be here loving what you do almost 3 decades later?
Yeah. I think you got to, so I take a lot of meetings,
Meetings.
Right?
Okay.
Well,
Tell me more about this.
So let me explain, just like this, where you or Kelsey approached me to do this interview. And it may not be something I love to do. It's not my comfort level, but I told myself do it because it's a path, and you can't shut the door on all your path. So you got to allow it to find yourself, and this will lead to something for me, hopefully more for you, hopefully more for Kelsey or those who are watching is the key. And so I think I've always been good at, if like a lender would call me and whatever they happen to say triggers something, I'll say, okay, I'll give you a meeting and I'll meet you for coffee and I'll do it. And I tell my team this, like, you got to go do the things maybe you don't want to do, but if you shut the door constantly, with my time, because I have 3 children, so I have to do that part as number one, and then work, and you have to do the balancing act. But I think what I've always learned is, again, just kind of follow that, be open to the path. So like when foreclosures, a lot of people are like, oh, I've had agents call me and say it's too much, I'm trying to refer you to the listing because I don't want to deal with it. And I'm like, well, this is what dealing with stuff is your job, whether it's, you can't have all the easy without the hard, and so you're going to have to learn one way or the other. And so the interesting thing of how I've done that, my old office, all my team members had their own desk facing the wall. You'd have a desk that you sit at. Well, I didn't like how that was because nobody looked at each other. So I ended up taking all the desks out, and I bought one big conference table, and we all sat around and looked at each other. And that changed the dynamic, because then I told them the way that I'm going to run my team and the way you're going to learn is through, I'm going to make every phone call right here in front of you, and you're going to make every phone call in front of me and the whole team. So we all are doing calls and dealing with strategies. And the way I run my team is a little bit different because I'm like a transaction manager for all of them. I do all the transactions. I do all the paperwork, all the negotiating. They just get the leads, find the house, and then I manage it from there. And the reason I do that is that's my expertise, is that side of it. And I allow them the time to go out and not, instead of sitting there managing a transaction, they can go out and do more leads and service more. So they have a set list of like a PR script. So they are just call on a Monday. Hey, how's it going? Galo, do you have any questions for Galo? Our transaction's going smooth and everything's good. And then on Friday, a quick text and say, hey, happy Friday. Just want to let you know today, this week we got past inspection and this and that. Anything you want me to talk to Galo about? So they're more of the personal communicator with them, and I'm more the business communicator with that client.
Wow.
But when we're in the office pre-COVID, we would, they would hear me with the phone call with the lender or with the agent or with the buyer, the seller, and managing the tasks at hand and what I said and what I didn't say and how I handled a fire and my poise was a lot of it is that you can't get angry and mad and yell and I would tell them you'd be amazed how much that goes on. So I might have went on a tangent there, but
no, that was amazing.
Is how my team learns and I hire new people. That's what I do differently than most. Everyone wants to seek out the best agent that's out there. I want to seek out someone who's just hungry, and then they can learn from me. And I tell them, if you just open your ears and you learn, and you don't need to know anything. You just need to know how to communicate with people and friend them and have them like you and understand you and trust you. And then you use my expertise piece or my years in the business as a side little, throw it in there and say, just so you know, my main person who's going to be dealing this is a 28-year veteran of doing this and, knows what he does, all sides of it, all aspects. And so it helps us put it together. And then same with me, their personality helps me connect with that client, because without them, I would never connect with that person and have that transaction. So I also feel I run a very fair, where no one's left me over money. And that's the best thing I could ever quote, because I've seen it happen on a lot of deals. Now, I hope they grow and they can go bigger and all that, but my team is built so they can grow and do as much as they want here with no ceiling and never have to leave to accomplish what they want to do. So,
that's so amazing. Yes.
Just another part of
and I love,
as you see things going on around you, the mistakes other people make.
Right. And I love that. I feel like being able to watch your leader work or, to learn from each other. It's like that, we're like the collective, that same mindset where you're like, we're doing this together. We're going to learn from each other. And that's how we can all grow. And I think that's amazing. And it sounds like, for one of the things I just love about what you said is it sounds like you were this incredible leader, but really you almost see yourself as like the supporter. Like you're just like providing this foundation for your team, right? So what might be, because I know you've held leadership roles, what would be your advice to other leaders for, how to create a team that's going to be highly successful, but then also, like you said, like not leaving you for money, right? Like loyal and loving where they're at.
Now, this may not be the best, but it works for me, which is I've never called myself the boss. And I always told my team I work for them.
That's so cool.
And so it always put us on a level, and any of my team, you would know that they're treated like this, and it's never one of these situations. Now it can hurt you because, like a lot of people in this business, if you're not self-motivated, it's hard to produce. If you left to be on your own, you just you wither and die rather than
Flounder.
Those who can. Yeah. And so, but I do believe in the throwing you in the pool and swim, figure it out, and so I treat my team like that a little bit, but at the same point, they need to come to me then and ask and want to learn and how do I do this and do all that, rather than me constantly reaching out and, let me show you how to do this. And let me, it's how I raise my kids, my kids would say, Dad, I can't do this. And I said, I guess you can't, and most parents would say, oh, yes, you can. You can believe in yourself. I've done that my whole life with them, and they know that. So when they come up and say that, they know my whole rule is what's the first thing you have to do. If you ask my children that, and they'll say, believe. And so, and I said, everything starts with that. So if you believe, then that's all you need to, that's the whole biggest thing that'll ever set you back ever is right between your ears. Yeah. So if you get that straightened out, then you're good to go. So you have to instill the confidence in your team, and then obviously the tools and all that go along with it. And it again, they're going to monkey see, monkey do. So you have to be, they'll follow what you do. Now, I'm not a slave drive, work. I like to play, and I like to be casual, and I like to, I take my business very seriously, but I'm not serious about business. And that's again, a different strategy than most. And some would agree and some wouldn't, but I want to be successful, but I don't want to rule the world anymore. I just want to be happy and comfortable and manage my day and manage my business and be able to do other businesses and do other projects and these kids. And just, so I found my happy place where I'm at, and I enjoy it. But if you're constantly, and that's what some things preach, is look at your numbers and your numbers and your numbers. And again, it's all right. There's nothing wrong. It's just, I like to look at it differently. And that's what I think makes me happy in this, rather than so driven about the numbers or what do I have to accomplish or I have to get to number one. Recently, I will tell you something I think is a good thing to do. And it made me feel really good. It was, I had every plaque from RE/MAX over the years on my wall, and I threw them all away. Because I had every club, every Hall of Fame, every Platinum, every Titan, every award you could ever get from RE/MAX I had on my wall in my office. And I told myself, why do I have those up? That's all in the past. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't have anything to do with what I'm doing today. So and my wife and my kids are like, Dad, why'd you do that? Because, and I said, well, A, I want to remodel my office, but B, I thought, what do I need? I don't like these awards, and I've recently always told my office, like, when you announce if we were listings number one in the office or whatever, don't say my name. I want you to announce my team members, because again, everybody, it all comes to me, and I get it, but I don't want that. I want, announce the team members, or I said, don't even put me in the category of getting these, the agent of the month or whatever these are. But I looked at those the other day, and it just like an epiphany came to me and said, no, you can't, it has nothing to do with anything ever again, because it's yesterday. So, and
that's
I'm lucky.
Cool.
At the end of the day,
I'm like, that is solid. When you're like, you know what, like, we're starting fresh, forget it. Yeah. Like, that's cool. I think that speaks volumes about who you are. So it's pretty amazing. Yeah. Okay. One last question for you, Galo. So I do you've seen the little series, like the Nerd Nuggets. So just like a little tip, a little nugget, a little something that people can kind of take away that can impact them and their business. So I would ask you, what might be some little nerd nugget that you would give people to kind of take away today?
Okay. When you're slow, go clean your garage, go clean out your storage room, go rearrange your house, do something that is not work. And it'll all come to you of what work needs to be, because at some point you can only do so much. And what happens is that people, when they get slow, they're doing this, and then they get wrapped into that, I'm slow, and they're telling themselves, I'm slow, I'm not making money, I'm not doing it. Well, that's the opposite of what you want going on, I think. So I always say, put that away. You've made the calls, you've sent the email, done whatever you can, and then go do other productive stuff. And in doing that, productivity will free your mind, and all of a sudden this will click and this will open up, and you'll have, and then you can't fester. You just got to keep going. Yep.
Yes. So, I love that. I think that's so genius and so wise. So thank you so much.
Plus your garage stays organized. I'm a big garage guy. You know where everything is. Your storage room, you can throw things out and clean. I mean, I'm telling you that it does more here than you're actually physically doing. But when you're when you see that room again, it creates kind of a
feeling of accomplishment. Like you feel good about it. Yeah. I love that. So you're right. Because you get stuck in the, like, this isn't working. This isn't working. Oh my God. What do I need to do? And
clear the trash on your computer, or it's gotta be something, but not like super work related, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you. I'm going to be following that nerd nugget myself. That's awesome. Well, Galo, you are so amazing. Thank you so much for your willingness to share, and yeah, just for your willingness to do this with us. We really appreciate it. This has been amazing,
Yes.
and I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Oh, quick question. Galo, if people want to find out more about you or your team, where should I have them go? Should they connect with you at your website, Facebook?
Website, or just email me, I guess. Galo at GaloGarridoGroup.com.
Cool. I'll put it on in the show notes so they know the correct spelling and everything.
I'll take a meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, and he'll take a meeting because he's open to opportunities.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. And the more you create for other people, the more it creates for you. So it's about not being selfish, for sure. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Perfect way to end. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.